Barack Obama with yet another white flag of surrender. Look, if it was earlier in his administration, I'd have been shocked and chagrined. I'd have been surprised and disappointed. These days, I look at it, I go, of course! He did an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal telling the country about a new executive order that he's signing. And as I was reading it, I kept screaming at the paper, of course! So, classic Obama. He comes in, begins with balance. We need balance. Sometimes you need regulation, sometimes you don't. Now, who agrees with that? Me. I love that, okay? That's totally true. Because, look, and as far as the size of government and regulation, sometimes government shouldn't regulate some things. Now, I think government works best when it's a cop, whether it's a literal cop on the street or a cop on Wall Street or a cop to make sure that, hey, you know what, they're not poisoning our food supply, whether it's a terrorist or whether it's the actual companies who don't mind passing on mad cow disease if they're going to make an extra nickel out of it, right? They need to be the cops that protect us. It is the central role of government, right? So I agree with that. But sometimes government gets out of hand and they start giving bonuses here and tax incentives there, etc. Why? Because companies want those. And once government gets in the business of handing out candy, then it's a little dangerous because it doesn't have the right incentive structure. It doesn't quite know what it's doing. So I'm not a big fan of big government for big government's sake, not even close, okay? But the one thing the government should do is regulate to make sure that the consumer is protected. And this article, this op-ed, and this order by the president is, in reality, the exact opposite. If he actually believed in that balance, I'd be on board. But as you see from the rest of the op-ed, no such thing. This is him saying to the business community in the Wall Street Journal, I give up. You win. Let me tell you how right you are about how terrible regulations are. Let me give you just some examples from his article. He said he would require that in the future government agencies, quote, ensure that regulations protect our safety, health, and environment while promoting economic growth. To which I say, of course! What were they doing in the past? That's their whole job. This is his way of saying they weren't doing that in the past. That, you know, oh, these regulations, they're just hemming you up, man. But now, trust me, we'll cut some so it'll get better for job growth. Not clear enough? I'll give you more quotes. He said, it is a review that will help bring order to regulations that have become a patchwork of overlapping rules, the results of tinkering by administrations and legislators of both parties, and the influence of special interests in Washington over the decades. Now, that is a way of saying, look at this, regulations, patchwork, and they tinkered. The government tinkered. They shouldn't have tinkered with you at all. And it's become this messy patchwork, and it's costing us jobs. Well said, Mr. Republican President. I mean, this is what a Republican president would have wrote. I mean, in fact, I look at that and I go, well, you know what? That Republican president isn't so bad. It could have been a worse Republican president. But this isn't what a Democratic president writes. And I'll get to that in a second, too. But let me give you two more examples. He said their mission was to root out regulations that conflict, that are not worth the cost, or that are just plain dumb. Okay, now he's calling regulations dumb, among other things. And one last one. We're also getting rid of absurd and unnecessary paperwork requirements that waste time and money. Now, why all of this rhetoric against regulations, right? It's to say to the business community, the right wing, the Republicans, you're right, what costs us jobs, and he directly says it in the article as well about costing jobs. What costs us jobs is the government. The big government is at fault, overregulation is at fault, and what I will do is, since you won in the election by spending all that money on Republicans, and I don't think I can win unless I get your money, your corporate money, I will take away those regulations. A full and complete and unconditional surrender. So, for example, the business community complains about regulations into the banks saying they are way too tough. Now, that is a preposterous joke. We haven't even touched them. They can still do the same exact risky gambling that they could before. I've spent countless hours, it might be hundreds of hours of this show explaining why those regulations don't do anything, okay? Now Obama is saying to the business community, I will even take some of those away. Now, the real import of that and why this is a message to the business community, give me money. Give the Democrats money, don't worry, we're not going to do anything to you, is that right now, when it comes to healthcare reform, but especially financial reform, set up the law so that the regulators have more power. So they'll be writing the new regulations now, and they can choose to make them tougher or softer. This is Obama saying, I will make them as soft as possible. Don't you worry your pretty little banker heart. We're not going to touch you. You still get to take all that risk with American taxpayer money or your depositors' money, and we're not going to do a damn thing about it. If you had any hope in Obama, let it go now. You were wrong. And by the way, I was wrong. I had hope in Obama. All this time, I thought there was some chance he could turn it around. Now, with this final piece of the puzzle, there is no chance. The next 2 years will be just how do I get that money? How do I get the corporate money and the rich people's money so I can win re-election in 2012? There will be nothing progressive. It'll be more crap like this. And what's much more important and relevant to you and I is that if the rules are the same as they were before the crash, which they are, and he's only promising to make them softer, there will definitely be another crash. See, that's why I'm not in the camp of, hey, Obama's trying and you start out small and you get bigger. No, Obama started out tiny and he got tinier in terms of change. And he's not going to get bigger. He's not going to make real reform in Wall Street now. No, he's going in the opposite direction. No, there was an open question of, is this guy trying to incrementally do the right thing, or is he just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, hoping we're too dumb to figure it out? And honestly, I was torn on that for a long, long time. I'm not torn on it anymore. This is not going towards some better incremental change. This is going towards, I'll put a Band-Aid on it, I hope it crashes on somebody else's watch. Meanwhile, I get paid, I get reelected. Aren't I a wonderful politician? Well, Mr. President, no, you're not. And if you continue to go in this direction, as you almost certainly will, given every single indication you've had since the election, we will fight you for the next 2 years. And this is not a Democratic president. Guy who does this and who buys into every Republican talking point. And one last thing on that. Look, it's not just that he's acting like a Republican. He's pulling a Lieberman. He's proving the Republicans right. Because now the thing is, they're not in fact in policy right, but to the average American, when he looks and he says, well, all right, the Republicans say that, and so does the Democratic president, well, I guess the regulations must be at fault. I guess the reason we crashed was overregulation. The reason we have high unemployment was overregulation. When the answer in reality is the exact opposite. We didn't regulate the banks. They gambled, they lost, and then they made us pay for it, and we had enormous unemployment. So he's giving the American people the exact wrong answer, and he's giving them the answer of the opposing political party. No, but that's not even a good politician. That's a very short-sighted politician. He doesn't even make his own case. And if he keeps going this way, if he's up against a real Republican, who are you going to vote for? A real Republican? Or this light, light Republican? Moderate? I'm not even sure he's a moderate Republican anymore. Look, if you're the business community and he gives you this kind of cover, he might be better than a Republican.